Okay, welcome everyone. Thank you for joining. We are the product success team. I am Lex.
And I'm Rodney.
Last week we went over how to import Aldelo POS to Aldelo Express. Today we will be going over how to import setup from Excel to Aldelo Express. If you have any questions, please keep your questions related to the topic at hand. Please keep yourself muted during the presentation. However, if you have immediate questions, you can ask your questions in the chat. We will be monitoring the chat as always. Otherwise, you can ask your questions verbally when we open up the floor for questioning. Just make sure you unmute yourself during that time. What are the benefits of importing? You can import customers using other platforms. Other benefits is that you can add multiple items all at once. Pre-made templates, you can have basic templates for different types of restaurants. For example, if you create a spreadsheet for winery and a couple of months down the line, you have another winery, you can use the same spreadsheet as the template and make necessary adjustments to the spreadsheet. If you have free time, you can create generic templates for different restaurant types. Also allows your customers to get started ASAP. It is ready immediately. You already got your customers started while you update the menu items, modifier templates, auto pricing, and more. So what will import? Menu items. Most of the menu items will get imported. Modifiers are also included. However, you will need to add templates for both force modifier and advanced modifier for each of the items. The customer profile. This will save you time from re-entering in the customer data to Aldelo Express. And discounts and surcharges. These two will also be included when importing. What cannot be imported? While the individual modifiers are imported, the setup for modifiers will have to be done manually. Pizza and matrix setups. You cannot build pizza using pizza builder format. You will need to add pizza items after the Excel has been imported. Tag along items. This is useful for combos. For example, if you have combo number one, the items will include existing items such as hamburger, soda, and fries. Pop-up header. While pop-up header is not included, you can pre-add the item and add the item to be a pop-up header after the store has been created. Auto pricing. This is useful for happy hour prices. The Excel only allows for one pricing to be added. When importing from Excel, you'll start off with the default category. You'll need to add other categories like dessert, beverage, wine, and beer, and attach the report category for each of the items. Employee profiles as well. You'll need to manually add the employees to the system once the import is successful. Now that we have an idea of what will transfer and what will not transfer, let's go ahead and go over the process.
Now, Alex, going back to the employee setup, you can add the employees on the build. So that is an option for you guys as well.
Yeah. All right. So getting the Excel ready. So the first thing we need to do is log into my.aldelo.express. We're going to go to stores on the left, and then we're going to click on stores. And then from there, we need to download the template. On the template, you're going to add the menu items, modifiers. We're going to add the customer profile, discounts, and surcharges. And then from there, we're going to save the file. And this is how the template looks like. As you can see, we have items, modifiers, customers, discounts, and surcharges. All right, so let's go ahead and build the store. So we're going to log back into my.aldelo.express. We're going to log in and create new store. We're going to import from Excel file. We're going to select the file. And then from there, we're going to complete the form and then build. It is highly recommended to review the imported store to make sure everything has transferred successfully. And if settings have to update, you can make those changes then. All right, so what needs to be updated after the store has been created? Well, the menu modifiers are added just as a basic. If the items have modifiers, you'll need to create force modifiers and or advanced modifier templates. Different services and different settings you'll need to adjust after the device has been activated. Pictures are optional, but you can enhance the menu items by adding pictures. And the employees, you'll need to add the employee profiles to the system as well. And once again, once the devices has been activated, you can then set up your printers, your cashier drawers, and your payment devices for each of the devices that you activate.
So I'm on the cloud. Okay, so we are logged in already. So we already have our store. So if you already have an existing account with existing stores, you will see their stores here. We'll go ahead and click on stores and then click on create new store. So if you're creating a new account, a brand new account, it'll take you directly into the setup for creating a new store here. So we're going to go ahead and start with the Excel file setup. The first thing you want to do is click on get template file. So that's how you download this spreadsheet. And I already have my spreadsheet loaded here. So I did go ahead and build pretty much a menu here. Now you do want to strategize how you input all your information into the spreadsheet. So like I have an option here, like my garlic fries. I have the intention of having these as sub items under a pop-up header. So like I have garlic fries here, I have French fries, and some other options I do have, I'll show you in a bit. But I do have buttons here that I am intending to use as pop-up headers. You'll see I don't have any pricing for it because pop-up headers do not have pricing attached to it. And then you can also set the prices here in the groups that they're in. And the groups will build in order based off of the order that you added into the spreadsheet here. So my first group is going to be sides, next will be sandwiches, entrees, so on and so forth. And then I have I'm going to scroll down here. Now I have another group here. This is going to also be a pop-up header, but this is an example of how you can put multiple items into under a pop-up header. So you can have these items are going to be subheaders. I purposely added more than what can be created under a specific group because there is a max when you do an import of 48 items. So I'm going to pretty much have the cut off at 47 because my pop-up header will be included. So I have 48 items. When I import, you'll see that cocktails 48 through 68 will not actually build. And then I have another group here where I'm going to say cocktails 48 through 94. Because you can use this as an example when you have your cocktails and you have numerous cocktails that will not build. You can create them in separate groups and then set them as a pop-up header and then move them to another group. So for an example, you can have your cocktails A through L and then cocktails M through Z, and then eventually move it into your desired group there. All right, so I have a bunch of items there. And also, one thing I forgot to mention, you're going to see the sheets here listed at the bottom of the information that will import. So you'll have your items, modifiers, customers, discounts, and surcharges. So this is the only information that can be transferred over or imported over, sorry. Next, I'm going to go into modifiers. And like I said, you do want to strategize how you put information in. And one thing you can do preemptively is set common names for some of these modifiers here. So you'll see I have my cook temperatures here. It does have a common name of temp, and you'll find that it is a faster way of building your force modifiers. The common name you can take advantage of the common name when you search for modifiers when building force modifiers groupings. You cannot use this for the advanced modifiers. Those will have to be done manually. But if you already have them in, when you search for the items, they'll already be there. And also when you set pricing for these modifiers, The pricing only takes effect under modifiers that you intend to use as force modifiers. When you build them as advanced modifiers, those prices do have to be inputted manually when you're creating the template there. All right, so you'll see I have some groups here. So I'm going to use the temps. I'll show you how that works once we input the store. I have breads and meats that I can carry over in sides. So I'll have a large number of sides here. So you'll see that once we get into the store there. Then you can have your customers. This can obviously, if a customer has an extensive list of customers that they're transferring over, they can pretty much fill out all this information, and it's based off of the phone number, customer name, email address, zip code, city, state. And you can set account numbers and barcodes for them, but that's not required. Actually, any of this information that they do not have does not have to be inputted in. You'll find that the only ones that are really required are the phone number, customer name, zip code, city, and state. So this is not all required information. It'll import in the information that is inputted into the spreadsheet here. All right, and then you're going to have your discounts, where you can set it by percentage or amount. Now, there may be some edits that you have to make after the store or the store is imported, because you'll have items like a buy one, get one, where they should only be targeted for specific items, not on the order level. And I'll show you how to do that. And then you'll have your surcharges. So this is basic surcharges that you can apply as well. All right, so now we're ready to create the store. So I'm going to go and take you there, back to the cloud, and we're going to select the import setup from Excel file. And I'll go ahead and choose my file here. All right. And it was successful. You'll see that the file has been selected. Now this option, it does not work for this particular import because we did not include any employee setup or employee files on the spreadsheet, because that's not part of the import there. And I'll show you when we do the cloud import, and that you can actually use that or not use it. So I'll go ahead and create the store here. And we'll call it name here, because most of the food that I chose was like soul food items. But they're pretty much arbitrary at this point. All right, and we do have to define the tags here. So you'll see that these fields in blue are pretty much all that's required. You can put in the optional information. And I'll go ahead and fill out the rest of the information here. And then we'll go to the next page. Now, as I mentioned, when Lex said that employees will not transfer, they won't transfer, but you can create staff members prior to completing the export or import. I can add a John Doe here. Actually, that's his last name. And I can enter a code for him and define what access they will have. Now, this will just set their access. There are accessibilities that have to be defined on the cloud. And I'll add another. And you'll see that this does import, and we'll go into that once we get into the store here after we build. So we have all our information. It's going to build the store, so we just have to wait for that process to complete. And once it does, we will have our trial store. All right. So we have our store here, and it's a trial. I'm going to go ahead and manage this store. And we'll just start from top to bottom here. So you'll see when we go to marketing and customers, we do have the customers imported over, and that's all from the spreadsheet there. As Alex mentioned earlier, you can perform an import even after the store is built, and you'll have template files here that you can fill out and then import to import those customers. And then next we'll go into the products. So as I mentioned, I'm going to go into the item setup here. I'm going to go ahead and set up some force modifiers and advanced modifiers here. I'm going to go ahead and start with sandwiches here. Go to po' boy. So these are going to be sandwiches. The intent when I created the spreadsheet was to be able to build a force modifier structure based off of the common name. I'm going to click on config force modifiers here. Then I'm going to click on add new force modifier. All right, so as you can see, you can search by modifier name, common name. So I'm going to just search for bread here. And that's going to pull anything that has the word bread in it. So obviously some of these are not going to actually be part of the breads that I want for that. So I do have to go ahead and select the ones that I have intended to. And it's as easy as just toggling yes here. I can search for the different types individually and add them all individually, but that does take quite some time, where it adds a little bit of time in your build there. If I wanted to add another group, like for meats that I created, I can do that as well. Actually, not meats. I think it's meat. And then I can put this over. So as I mentioned, because these are under the force modifiers, the pricing that I did define for these will carry over. So like when I choose a bacon, there will be an extra charge of 125. Or if I chose shrimp, it'll be $2, I believe, or 150. So whatever defined on the spreadsheet will carry over. And when it's applied on the menu on the application, it will use those prices. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and save this here. Now, I only updated the shrimp po' boy. If I want those same options to be used for all these other sandwiches here, I can go ahead and go into the next item, show the extended settings, config force modifiers, and then I can copy from the shrimp po' boy and it'll transfer over. So it's as easy as that. You don't have to go ahead and build all these manually like I did for the first item. Because it already exists, I can go ahead and copy that from that item. So once you establish your first item, you can go ahead and copy them over just to speed up the process. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and build some advanced modifiers here as well. So you'll see that none exists because none was transferred over. So I do have to create a new one. And I'll call this sandwiches. And I'll add my first group here. And I'll call it fries. Now I did show you that I had a number of fries there, but I'm just going to add just a set for the French fries, not the sweet potato fries or any other options I did create. Just to show you an example here, I am setting a max selections count so that they can only choose one of those options. I'll add new and I'll just search for the name. Since it already exists, all I have to do is type in a common name there, add it in. If I want to add some different options, I can select the modifier actions and enable them. If I want to add pricing, I can add pricing here. So I'm just gonna assume when I created the menu that the small French fries were going to be free. So I can go ahead and save that. But if they choose a larger option, there's going to be an upcharge for it. So I can say if they wanted medium fries, it'll be 75 cents more. Then when I add my large French fries, and you'll see that every time I selected fries, every time I chose an item, it was no longer available because you can only have that modifier under one group at a time. All right, so if they wanted large, I can, excuse me, if they want to choose large, they'll be upcharged $1.50 there. And then you can obviously add more items for the different options there. I'm going to go ahead and add more to the group here. You can see I can have up to 8 groups here. I'm going to add condiments, and I'll just add a few. Actually, I have that there. And if I wanted to limit it, I can, or if I wanted to leave it open to whatever the customer wanted, I can just leave that blank. And then I can add options for extra and maybe put that on the side. Like if I wanted hot sauce, I can put hot sauce there. If I wanted to put an upcharge, I can put an upcharge for that extra option there. And I'll add one more here. So I have another group here, and I'll add one more. This will be for condiment or sauces, sorry. Actually, well, that was my group sauces. I'll make this one condiments. And I'll just rename the other one there. So my condiments should have been lettuce. And I'll just leave as is. Slight mistake on my part, but I can rename that in a bit. Oops. All right, so I can go back into my group here. I could name this sauces and then this condiments. And if I wanted my condiments to be actually group 2, I can actually move this up. And then I have my modifiers here. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and save this. And if I want, let's say I have my smash burger, this will have the same modifiers, but there will be other options as well. Since burgers, typically you can have cheeses. I'm going to go ahead and copy the force modifiers here. Shrimp po' boy. I'll duplicate that. So you'll see it copies both groups there. And I can go to my modifiers and I could take the existing group here, but I can duplicate it and then call it, actually, I can call it the whatever name. It's pretty much arbitrary here, but I'll go ahead and just call it smash burger. So if I want to add another group, so it's going to be the same set of groups here, but this will have a slight variation, and I'll call this cheese. And then I'll add the different cheeses here. And I can say I want a limit of 1 or maximum 1, minimum, maximum 1. So it's something that they have to choose. I'll go ahead and add. And I'll add American. And I can put extra side if I wanted no. Whatever modifier actions you wanted to apply, they can apply that there. So it all depends on how their menu is there. I can disable any of those or not include any of the modifier actions, and then choose that there. All right, so I've pretty much taken existing advanced modifier template and made a slight variation for a specific item there. And then also we're going to go into the entrees and we're going to create a set of modifiers there. So you'll see when I actually go into the force modifiers here, I can add and I can search, and I did sides. So you can enable all of these here. And you'll see that there's a large number of different modifiers here. Instead, like I said, instead of searching for them, I can go ahead and just toggle them all to yes, and it'll include all the different sides there. So that definitely speeds up the process. And then let's say for the force modifiers, they're going to use just like, let's say the sauces, and we'll call it entrees. I can go ahead and just copy the same sauces that I had created for the sandwiches. And let's say there's going to be those sauces that I added, but there's going to be a bit more. So I can go in and make those adjustments. It already has the ones I've created for the different template, and then I can add a different sauce here. So there's certain steps that you can use to speed up the process there. All right, let me just dismiss this here. I'll go and set the entrees here. Now, once you set them, like I said, you do have to go into each item to apply it to all the different groups there. All right, so we're going to move next to the cocktails. All right, so you can see I have my different items here. We had 68, but it only created up to 47 here. Cocktails 47, including the top level, which is 48. I'm going to go ahead and convert this to a pop-up header here. And then I'll have the option to convert regular items as a sub item. So it's gonna pull up the items that are under the same group. I can go ahead and enable all of them if I wanted to create a sub-item screen name. So how it shows up on the screen once you select the pop-up header, you can set that there. But you have to go into each page and enable. And then it will create those under the pop-up header. Now you'll see that all they'll see now is a pop-up header. So if I can have multiple groups that I've created multiple items for, like this here, the move to cocktails, I'm going to go ahead and do the same here. Set this up as a pop-up header, and I'm going to convert all those items into subheaders or sub-items. Sorry about that. All right, so I convert that, and once those are all converted, I can scroll up to the top and move this to the cocktails group. Then you'll see that I'll have cocktails 1 through 47, and then cocktails 48 through 94. Now, as Lex mentioned earlier, when I go into any of these items here, if I do need to create a report category for them, I do have to go into each one. I can preemptively add the report categories here and create, let's just call it, generically, we'll call it food. And we'll create one that says beverage. Then when I go back into the menu, I can go in and just change this to food. So I have to go through to each item and change it to update. So when the reporting comes out, they can filter out that. If I wanted to go into the cocktails and do the same, I can, if I want to classify this as, let's say, liquor or alcohol, if I didn't create it already, I can still create it new from the item level. Let's call it liquor. We'll save it. Now we have that as part of the list of report categories. You'll see when I go to report category, that liquor transfers over. All right, and then you're going to see as well the advanced pricing. Nothing is transferred over. If you do need to define like happy hour pricing, you can add schedules. So, well, that is an option as well. That's something that they want to do if that is an option for the restaurant. For the staff, they do have to go in. As I have added some of the employees from the store build level, I'll have it just creates a basic employee. And with their code, if we go into the extended settings here, you'll see that they still have to define their operations and accessibilities. By default, it's going to have all these options as no. If they needed to update that, they do have to update those. And then now when we go into the settings, they'll have to go in through the settings if they needed to add a couple services. Maybe, let's say they do have a delivery service or drive-through, they do have to be enabled. The dine-in, bar, and takeout are the default services that are included when building. So if they had to add more services or set aliases for the existing ones, they can do that, or that is advisable. And then they can go through the settings and customize it as the customer needs. Also, the security levels is something that they'd want to look into, and then adjust the securities based off of their employees and what they want them to have access to. Then you'll see the discounts here. As I mentioned, like these two discounts here, typically the buy one, get one free or buy one, get one options should be limited to just the line item. Because if you order 2 burgers, the other one is free, you want to apply it to the second burger. You don't want to be able to have this particular discount to be able to be applied to the entire order. So I can go in, I'm going to do the buy one, get one free. You see it's a 100% discount, and you want to apply that to the second item. You can settle the security level here. So I can say highest access will use that, but I do want to change the target type to target items. Now, when I select target items, it will clear out the discount rate. I do have to put that back in and then save. And then for the half, I want to do the same. So it's a 50% discount for the second item set that security level and change it to target orders, and then reapply the discount rate here. So that's something that they'll use if they have those types of discounts and they wanted to limit it either to the order level or the line item level. All right, and then the last is the surcharges. So these are what transferred over here.